Here we go. All right, everybody, welcome to our November 24th edition. And here we are attempting to connect with truth, to align with consciousness, go to the highest places within consciousness we can possibly go to. And on this day of gratitude, Thanksgiving here in the US, as I was in the shower, I'm saying, okay, are we going to continue learning about how we are the dreamers of this dream, this crazy illusion that we are living inside of? And I was absolutely guided to do something totally different. So I will get into that particular. We're going to talk about a lesson here in a little bit. But what I wanted to do is thank everybody, number one, for being here. And I missed you guys. We didn't meet last week because I was traveling with my sweet grandbaby and daughter. We came to Atlanta from Colorado, so that was a lot of fun. And they're here to spend Thanksgiving here with us. So that's really super, super exciting. But obviously, you know, when you get together with family, there's always opportunities for learning. And my daughter is visiting with her dad. Her dad and I divorced a long time ago. Can't even remember. I think it was in 2008 is when we were divorced. Wow, it's been quite a while. Holy cow. I hadn't even stopped to think how long that's been. It's been a long, long time. And, you know, she hears things at her dad's and she hears things over here. And one of the most wonderful things about being a parent who is committed to truth, committed to being a conscious parent, is to allow my children to have whatever opinions they want to have about anybody, about me, about their parents, about whatever life. And so it really is sweet how if I wasn't conscious, I would have been pissed at some of the things that her father thinks about me. But because I don't care what anybody thinks about me, I only care what God thinks about me. It's really absolutely wonderful to hear my daughter receive what her dad says about me, receive what I say about her dad, and she gets to have her own perspective. To me, I am celebrating that my children have been raised the second half of their time with me, because my first half I was an unconscious parent, but the second half, they have been encouraged to have their own opinion and to have a perspective based on what feels good to their inner being. And for me, to have children who are independent thinkers is so much more important than having a child or anybody who agrees with me. Because when we honor our inner voice, that is what the world is missing right now. People who are connected to their own inner voice. Because when we follow our inner guidance, there is no way that this world would be in the mess that it's in. And it's in the mess that it's in to reflect back to us that we have lost touch with our inner knowing. We don't come in and listen to God inside. We are busy listening to what everybody else has to say about us. So that was just such a beautiful opportunity to sit at dinner last night and talk to her about these things, these places where mom and dad think differently. And it is perfectly okay. So I wanted to announce one thing. I am going to start promoting. I've mentioned to a couple of you that I coach individually, but I'm going to start promoting next year. I've decided to do another mastery year. But this year, or 2022, I'm going to base it on A Course of Love. And this book is a follow-up to A Course in Miracles. So Jesus channels this book as well through Mari Perron, lovely lady. I had the opportunity to meet her 10 years or so ago. Absolutely lovely lady. Towards the end of this particular book, there's a section called the 40 Days and 40 Nights. And Jesus is giving us 40 days and 40 nights worth of practice, really deep, deep practice. So to be able to be part of that, as I've done in the past, there has to be an interview process. You have to be not only well versed in a course in miracles, because it is a continuation to the course, which means it just goes a lot deeper. I'm not going to say a little deeper, a lot deeper. It is very much about the practical lived application, but it also gets into the embodying not only the essence of Jesus, but the essence of the Holy Spirit, but also the essence of Mary. We have to embody our divine feminine. And when we opened up today, I was so blessed to have Dr. Vern and Crystal and Yuri here. So I was surrounded by only divine masculine for a few minutes until our divine feminine, beautiful ladies joined us. But anyways, so I'm going to send that information about that. We're going to meet on Monday nights. It is going to be via Zoom. And then there'll be other live things that we can add to that throughout the year. But it is really, really important, I think, that we have a committed practice to embodying the balanced masculine, feminine essence that we are. The 40 days, 40 nights in A Course of Love is basically what Jesus experienced during his 40 days and 40 nights in the desert, and gives us a practice to embody that. So I'll send out more information about that. And today, again, while I was in the shower and I was given for what the topic for today, so appropriate, being Thanksgiving that we celebrate here in the US tomorrow, we're going to look at lesson 195. And I want to focus on trying to get through all of this lesson today. And whatever we don't get to complete during this call, I encourage you to complete it, because next week we'll go back to the completion of the or continuation of where we left off before, which we were in chapter 27, and we were talking about the healing of the dream. So lesson 195, and if somebody can just write this in the chat, that way anybody who joins us later on, they can pick up where we are. Lesson 195. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. When I started studying A Course in Miracles and I started studying about gratitude, I realized I had gratitude backwards. I had forgiveness backwards. I had so many things backwards because the world teaches us that which is in direct opposition to what is true and what is of God. So when I began to understand what gratitude was about, let me tell you, it was not an easy process. I can assure you, I spent a couple of years just on focusing on gratitude according to the Course in Miracles before I was able to have that shift inside of me that allowed me to really understand what I needed to be grateful for. And I can tell you right now, the world is being supported with a lot of energy to help us make these shifts a lot faster. So it doesn't have to take so long for anybody who's interested in learning truth. Doesn't have to take that long at all. But if you don't understand the real meaning of gratitude, the energies can be strong and powerful. They will be strong and powerful in solidifying us in whatever it is that we believe. And if we have the wrong belief about, as the Course calls it, wrong-mindedness about what gratitude is, well, we're going to be solidifying ourselves in something that is not going to help us really understand what it is that we need to be grateful for. And we have much to be grateful for, not just on this one day, but the fact that we're on this planet at this time, witnessing the shift in consciousness that we are getting to witness, knowing what gratitude is about, knowing what to be grateful for. Oh my goodness, it just makes being able to witness what's happening, well, so much more peaceful. So let's read what it says here. So love is the way I walk in gratitude. Paragraph 1. Gratitude is a lesson hard to learn for those who look upon the world amiss. Yes, I totally was looking upon the world as in a way that had me not understand gratitude. So the most that they can do is see themselves as better off than others. And we're told that all the time. You should be grateful. You know, you've got food to eat. Poor Chinese children only have rice to eat. I grew up hearing that all the time. You should be grateful. You get to go to private school. You should be grateful. You get, you know, the Christmas presents, the birthday presents, this, that, or the other. You should be grateful. You should be grateful. You have this and they don't. There was always a comparison when I was being taught about gratitude. The most that they can do is see themselves as better off than others. And they try to be content because another seems to suffer more than they. That was always part of gratitude for me. You're better off, they're suffering, they have less. How pitiful and deprecating are such thoughts? This is Jesus saying, that's pitiful that you see it that way. For who has cause for thanks while others have less? While others have less. Why are we grateful that we have more while others have less? Think about that. In that feel good about what you've got, poor people over there have less, there is an egoic attempt to get us not to focus on why do they have less. You be grateful you have more, but why do they have less? Why is that the experience that they're having? We'll keep going and we'll get into what Jesus wants us to understand. And who could suffer less because he sees another suffer more? Isn't that crazy? Oh yeah, we should be less afflicted because they are more afflicted. Pure insanity. So your gratitude is due to him, to God alone, who made all cause of sorrow disappear throughout the world. So our gratitude really needs to start with God has given each and every one of us the same ability to make everything that causes suffering to disappear. That's where gratitude needs to begin to be focused upon. Grateful that we have been each given the way to make all suffering disappear. That was such a mind blow for me when I began to want to understand gratitude according to the Course in Miracles. So we're going to keep going because this is really these are nine paragraphs that's going to unpack this. And I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say after you hear this explained in this way, because it really truly turns everything upside down, which the ego turned upside down. The ego took everything God gave us that was correct and turned it inside out, right side, upside down, messed it all up completely. So paragraph 2, it is insane to offer thanks because of suffering. Wow. We should not be grateful somebody is suffering less or more, that we're suffering less and they're suffering more. We should not be grateful for that. That is insanity. But it is equally insane to fail in gratitude to one who offers you the certain means whereby all pain is healed and suffering replaced with laughter and with happiness. Wow, to me, that was like a major, major wow. It is equally insane to fail to have gratitude when we have been given exactly what we need to do to experience all pain healed, no suffering, none whatsoever, and then replace it with laughter and happiness. Wow. Sentence number 3 in paragraph 2 says, nor could the even partly sane refuse to take the steps which he directs and follow in the way he sets before them to escape a prison that they thought contained no door to the deliverance they now perceive. You only need a little tiny bit, partly sane, tiny little bit of sanity That's all we need, is a little bit of sanity to find the door out of this insane prison that we have created. And to have a tiny little bit of sanity means that you're willing. That's, the Course tells us all over the place, thousands of times. All you need is a little willingness to find your way out of the insanity. Paragraph number 3. This is amazing. Your brother is your enemy, in quotations, is your enemy because you see in him the rival to your peace, a plunderer who takes his joy from you and leaves you nothing but a black despair so bitter and relentless that there is no hope remaining. Let's spend a little time on this one. Your brother is your enemy because you see in him, this is, it's the insanity of the ego, because you see in him the rival for your peace. I had a friend I was talking to via text yesterday about getting together with visiting with my daughter. And this particular friend had said, I can't make it on the day that you're planning this get together for us to come and meet your grandson and see your daughter, because she knows my daughter, because I am going to go get my what is that called? A booster. And she says, I know how you feel about it, but it just gives me peace. And I said to her, I do not mind anybody doing whatever it is that they want, that they feel allows them to experience peace. I said, what I am not okay is for somebody to say that they lose their peace because of me, because it's not true. I cannot take somebody's peace away. So we have been conditioned to believe that I can only be at peace when you behave. I can only feel healthy if you take the jab. I can only feel comfortable if you give up something. Our mind has been conditioned to see our brothers and our sisters as our enemies because they take our peace from us. That is pure conditioning. It's like that saying, I can't remember who said it, so I don't know, can't remember who to give credit for this, but it's not mine, that if you go to the mountain and you find peace there, you didn't find your peace, you found the mountain's peace. Meaning that if you have to go somewhere to find peace, it is not your own peace ever. It will never be your own peace. If you need a condition to change to find peace, it's not your peace. Your peace, my peace, goes with us wherever we go. And the only way to experience our own peace within is to be at peace with the without, is to be at peace with what is. Now, don't get into, but you're going to tolerate things that are not okay. Yes, you are going to tolerate what is not okay, because we have got to learn not to give up our serenity over what is happening. To be moved into doing something, to be in service to take action, to be inspired, needs to come from that place of peace. Because if we don't let that peace within us express itself through us, we are seeking always, I don't care how advanced anybody is, and I know because I've been in that place where I thought I was so advanced. If you need something outside of you to have to change for you to be okay, you do not know the well of peace that is inside of you. You're doing exactly what the Course wants us to understand. You're believing that something external has to change first, then you'll find your peace. When you tap into the peace that is already there, and we're going to get into how do you tap into that, but when you are connected to that inner peace, you then become an inspired being that can be the change that you want to see in the world, because it has to start from within. What we are changing, not other people's way of being, not try to get them to stop doing what they're doing, but we as you move up the levels of consciousness, we are becoming the change we want to see. We are becoming those who, as we move into the higher frequencies, we attract each other and will co-create the communities that bring about what is needed here to change. Do you realize that right now there are doctors working together in high frequency to create the new medical establishments of the world? Do you realize that there are farmers that are coming together in high frequency talking about how are they going to ensure that the organic food gets to the people that are looking for that? Those who want to have a better education for their children, they're coming together with teachers who are leaving the low frequency education system. We have to change inside, and then we attract those that we are going to be connecting with. We are not here to go bust the system. We are here to create a whole new system. I don't remember the exact quote, but it goes something like this, and I do know who to give credit to on this one, Buckminster Fuller. He said something to the words to this effect: don't spend your time busting down what doesn't work. Use all of your time to create that which does, that then will attract to you those who are looking for that. So much of what the ego has us believe we need to do is to go tear down the enemy, because that is a distraction from being the presence of love that has no enemy. And when we are grounded in being the presence of that which is at peace internally, and we get inspiration, we do attract those who are going to be part of the system. Now, that does not mean that there are not things that we're not going to do out there in the world to change some things. Absolutely. But those changes, for example, getting involved in local politics or any kind of politics, moving into those circles and participating maybe in schools. Maybe you want to go be the teacher that changes everything in the school system, but it's only going to happen because you've been changed inside and you've been inspired to be the change that is supposed to be in that area. If the ego has you thinking that there is an enemy and you've got to go wrestle them down to the ground, you are actually not doing the work of God. Now, let me just say this, all of it is inside of the mind of God. So all of it technically is the work of God. However, we'll be pushing against the ego, and that makes the process of shifting take a lot longer, because if you're wrestling another egos down to the ground, you are not being the presence of love that shines the light, that raises the frequency, that brings about the change. Yes, over time, it looks like it might create some change, but if you don't change your heart and your mind about how you are showing up, you really are not going to be able to do what this says. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. If you want to walk in gratitude in this world, knowing that you have everything that you need at your disposal to support you, that moves through you, that brings you all the collaborating components to be able to build what Buckminster Fuller was telling us to do. If you want to see the change happen faster, you've got to walk the way of love, and love walks in gratitude. So let me go to sentence number 2 in paragraph 3. Now, when you see your brother as your enemy, because we see that they're the ones who took our peace, now it's vengeance, all there is to wish for. Now, can you but try to bring him down to lie in death with you, as useless as yourself, as little left within his grasping fingers as is in yours. You know, vengeance happens right around here. Vengeance is a powerful energy, and many are waking up and activating vengeance. And it's absolutely appropriate to move from the low frequencies where we have felt disempowered, where we feel that we've been oppressed, where we feel that our liberties are being taken from us. If you're operating in those lower frequencies, you are going to need to feel vengeance before it activates in you a sense of actually self-love. Love yourself enough to speak up, love yourself enough to push through what you felt was oppressing you. That is appropriate. So wherever you are on your journey, whatever you feel you must do to feel better is appropriate. But here's the thing. If you are conscious about what is in alignment with God, vengeance won't be part of it. If you are unconscious of what is in alignment with God, vengeance is a way in which we move to higher levels of frequency, because you must move out of being a doormat and push through that need to let somebody else oppress you. You got to push through that inside of you and push it out and activate your voice and speak up and stand up for yourself. But I am speaking in this lesson. You get to lesson 195, you're out of 365. This is for somebody much further advanced. Of course, you hear it even if you're in the lower levels of consciousness. But if you are going to step into the high frequencies of consciousness, you've got to understand that anybody who is seeking revenge, they're looking for revenge from an enemy that's outside, and they believe that their peace is outside of them. That is what has gotten the world in the mess that it's in, is that we have believed that power is outside of us and something outside of us took it from us. This is telling us, no, the power's inside of you. It's been inside of you all along. We need to learn how to activate it. So no matter where we are on the continuum to expansion of consciousness, we have got to get really clear that we're always coming back inside. Remember the truth of who we are, come back inside and activate it, because it is always going to be inside. Even for the person who thinks they took it from me outside, that revenge is coming from a power within that says, I deserve better. So it's always inside. It cannot be anywhere else. Always, always inside. So sentence number 3, your brother is your enemy because you see in him rival for your peace, a plunderer who takes his joy from you and leaves you nothing but a black despair so bitter and relentless that there is no hope. Oh my goodness. Isn't that amazing? That we think that they are the ones who took our joy. We gave up our joy. And we're going to get to why you want to be grateful that your joy has never been outside of you. All right, paragraph number 4. You do not offer God your gratitude because your brother is more slave than you, nor could you sanely be enraged if he seems freer. Makes no sense to be upset that somebody's more peaceful than you are, that somebody is more healthier than you are, that somebody is more joyful than you are. Why would you be mad that they are better off? Don't be glad that you're better off than them, because neither of those two things makes any sense. Love makes no comparisons. True love, the love of God, makes no comparisons. And gratitude can only be sincere if it is joined to love. We offer thanks to God, our Father, Mother, God, whatever you want to call it, that in us all things will find their freedom. In us, it comes right back in here. The freedom that we're seeking for, it is not out there. The government doesn't give you freedom. The government doesn't take freedom away. That freedom is something that is experienced inside. The experience of it out here, we are in co-creation with others. We are in co-creation for an experience of freedom out here. If you are in the lower levels of consciousness, you think you're doing something to get your freedom back. If you're in the higher levels of consciousness, freedom is inside of you. God, what would you have me do so that I can be in service to co-creating an experience of freedom for all? Very, very different thing. And I want you to really get that. Real freedom is inside. And we're going to get to a little bit, we're going to get to why you want to be very clear about this. We have to make sure that we're talking about two different levels of consciousness. The consciousness of the ego that says you are the reason I'm hurting, you're the reason I'm suffering, I should feel bad because you don't feel good, I should feel, powerless because you got all the power. That's the ego. High consciousness says, I'm the creator of my own reality. Peace, freedom, joy is all inside of me. Well-being, it's all inside of me. How much am I accessing is totally up to me. I am grateful. All of it is in me. Now, what kind of an experience do I want to co-create out here? The beings who are coming together to create the new systems, they're not coming to fight against the old. They're coming to create the new. Those who are in the lower levels of consciousness and think somebody took it from them, their well-being is outside of them, they are going to take revenge upon the system. What side are you going to be on? And it doesn't mean that you're not moving through them, because you are supposed to wake up and be in the world, but not of it. You get that? That be not of it means you have found all of the peace, all of the freedom, all of the love and joy in you. Are you co-creating with those who want the same thing? Or are you trying to convince those who don't understand this that they're doing it wrong? That is where we have to decide, where is our energy going? It's very, very, very simple. All right, let me read number 3 again. And gratitude can only be sincere if it be joined with love. We're in paragraph 4, sentence 4. We offer thanks to God and our Father that in us all things will find their freedom. It will never be that some are loosed because others still are found. Nobody is lost because some are found. Absolutely not going to happen. For who can bargain in the name of love? If you know love, there is no bargaining. God gave us all the exact same equal opportunities, equal power. And this is not what the world teaches. The world teaches that they got better opportunity. They got an education. They grew up in a wonderful household. Those poor people over there, they got, the raw end of the stick. Look, poor people who were born into that horrible situation, that terrible third world country. We've got to stop looking at anybody that way. We've got to stop looking. We got to start looking at everybody as all of us born with the exact same equal opportunity of what is inside of us, because that's where we're going to find God, is within us. That is how we need to change our mindset. We have to shift it and lift it to think only in the way that God wants us to think, which is to think with truth, period. Because we have got to get really clear that the world will only be transformed when we, each and every one of us, has completely renewed our mind. We don't think the old way, we think the new way. Renew. We've got to re-up, clean up, delete files. Old thought systems have to be changed so that we can be ready for what we're being asked to participate in. Or paragraph number 5, therefore give thanks, but in sincerity, and let your gratitude make room for all who will escape with you, the sick, the weak, the needy and afraid, and those who mourn a seeming loss or feel apparent pain, who suffer cold or hunger, or who walk the way of hatred and the path of death. All those go with you. Let us not compare ourselves with them, for thus we split them off from our awareness of the unity we share with them, as they must share with us. We have got to stop thinking of poor people out there. We've got to give ourselves the grace that is necessary to see everybody as a powerful creator. This is a very uncomfortable thing for, I'm going to call them my liberal friends. I was in that camp for a long time. I thought that I was part of the political party that was going to take care of all the poor people, take care of all, fixing all the wrongs in the world. I really thought that that was the way it was going to be. Those Republicans or conservatives, those are the greedy people. It's more for them. But I'm in the party that takes care of the poor people. Well, we don't realize that when your mind is conditioned to see people as poor, as incapable, as not able, we are literally in our minds splitting ourselves from our brothers and sisters. We can't see them as capable. Do you know that that's not love? Love sees them all absolutely, completely powerful and capable. Every single one of them. Choosing to have whatever experience they want to have, because everybody leaves. When we have the death experience, we transition at whatever level we left off. Now, some transition here, but they incarnate to keep going down. Some transition here, but they incarnate because they're going up. So an up and down is just in consciousness. That's it. Expanding into more truth, contracting into more lies. Expanding into more love, contracting into more fear. Expanding into the way of oneness, contracting into the realm of separation. That's all that can happen. We are either contracting or expanding. That's it. That's why there's no right or wrong. It is not wrong to choose to contract. We were given the power to do that. We have free will. Before we incarnate, we have free will. We need to see everybody as powerful beings choosing to do that. We need to be grateful that love, the love of the Creator, is a love that places zero conditions, whether you're going down or up, or repeating, recycling in karmic patterns of repetition, which is what the 3D world of humanity has been in primarily. Repeating. We're doing today what was done in Germany not that long ago. So we're repeating the same thing. We're repeating the same thing because we are inside of a mind that has been conditioned to think that we're separate from one another, separate from God. And until we correct that, and it starts with gratitude for a God that loves us so much that it doesn't judge a single one of us. So if God doesn't judge a single one of us, who are we to judge? Jesus taught us this 2,000 years ago. Get the speck out of your own eye before you point at the log in another, or vice versa, the log in another, or the speck in another when you have a log in your own eye. Stop saying that out there is the problem when the problem and the correction is right here. That is one of the really important understandings about love. Love does not judge. It judges not because it sees everybody as equally powerful. Our mindset has to be corrected. If you have a thought system that feels sorry for others, you are not thinking with God, you're thinking with the ego. And you're separating others and you're making them worse and you better, or you better, or worse and them better. Either way, that level of separation creates a total and complete conflict within ourselves. We cannot know the truth if we're operating like that. So we're going to give thanks with sincerity that none of this separation has ever happened. There's nobody who's better or worse off than we are. Again, in consciousness, we've got to get clear that we've got to think of ourselves as being, there being two of us. And when we think of ourselves as being two of us, there's the one that is the non-physical, that knows, is one with all that is. And then there is our experience of a separate physical vessel that is having an experience that I am separate from everybody else because I have this physical body. So there's so much that we've got to get corrected in our mind. So paragraph 6. So we thank our Father for one thing alone. See how simple it is? Course, if you really understand what the Course wants you to do, it tells you everything and it gives it to you in a very, very simple way. We thank our Father, Father, Mother, God, Source, Spirit, Creator, Bambi, for one thing alone, that we are separate from no living thing, and therefore one with him, her, it. When you begin to realize that what you are is this non-physical energy that is one with everything, and you cultivate a relationship with the energy that you are, not the empty square that we've been taught to focus on, when we recognize that we want to get to know the energetic essence that we are, first and foremost, we are beginning to experience ourselves as one with all that is. From that place, what is there to judge? Who is better than anybody else? Now we're all powerful beings creating our own experience. That in next year's 40 days and 40 nights, that is what we're going to be focusing more on. We've got to get really comfortable that what we are is non-physical energy. The mind has to understand it, but the heart has to feel it. Otherwise, you talk it, but you don't walk it. The walking it comes from the heart. The talking it comes from the mind that gets programmed and can parrot anything. No different than a parrot can be trained to say things. I was trained, very, very expertly trained in being a talking head and saying things that I wasn't fully living. But we all have to go through that. There is a process by which we cross beyond the pride of the ego that knows it but doesn't walk it, to the humbleness that says, you know what, I'm still judging people. I just judged this one. I just made myself superior. I thought that those poor people over there, I just had that thought, which means I must not be coming from my heart. That level of integrity is what Jesus experienced in the 40 days and 40 nights in the desert. Of course, we're going to give ourselves a lot more than 40 days and 40 nights. I don't know about you, but I'm not at the Jesus level yet. So it takes a little repetition for me. All right. So we're going to thank God for one thing and one thing only, and that's that we're all one. Sentence number 2, and we rejoice that no exceptions, this is so key, no exceptions can ever can be made, which would reduce our wholeness, nor impair or change our function to complete the one who is himself completion. We have one function, people. Course in Miracles tells us we're here to be happy. And the only way for you to be happy is to know you haven't left God. This world that we see is a projection because our eyes are trained to focus on the external. Since we were itty bitty, we were unconsciously, each and every one of us, trained into thinking power exists outside of us. It started with mother, father outside of us are the source of our safety, the source of our feeding the body, the source of our keeping us warm and taken care of. And those things in the experience of being a human are accurate. But that information wasn't balanced out with that they were teaching us how to care for our physical vessel because our physical vessel held God inside. No. We were told they were the source of everything for us outside. We were not taught to source within ourselves. Then the church put God outside. Then the government put power, the tyrants, the dictators, the president, the whatever outside. Nowadays, tyrants, dictators, presidents, all kind of the same. It's kind of funny. So we have got to come back to reparenting ourselves consciously, and moving ourselves into an awareness that everything we could possibly want to change out there must happen in here first. And it starts with the recognition, number 1, that we're all one. We've all been given the same amount of power. Don't look up to somebody out there. Don't look down to somebody out there. That oneness needs to be understood first, because when we each own our power, we find a sense of completion within ourselves. And when I recognize that I am whole and complete within myself, I am a complete aspect within what completes God. Now, God is not incomplete, but God, source, love, wants to extend. It wants to expand. That which is about infinity is about expansion. What has happened to our planet is we are on a fast course towards extinction. We are contracting, we are collapsing. Yet another civilization that moves to the level of arrogance. It knows enough, but doesn't actually understand what love is. So when we move into the pyramid, where the top of the pyramid are the ones who are the most disconnected from the truth of who they are, run everything, it can't help but implode because it's pulling everybody down in frequency into extinction. For God to do what God is designed to do, extend, we've got to find our own complete sense of self. When we feel complete inside, we complete the plan of expansion. Otherwise, we just totally, completely collapse and become another extinct civilization that then begins again. We'll just all be born at that level of frequency, and some will, but they all get the chance to expand. Everybody has the equal opportunity in this lifetime or the next to expand, because that is what is natural to us. So to complete God's plan, God did not create us to contract. God gives us the opportunity to contract by blocking expansion, but God did not design us to contract. That's why it doesn't work. It has to keep getting repeated over and over till we learn the lesson. We were designed to expand, and you can only expand when you see, when you collaborate with those that are equal to you, and you come together without greed, without selfishness. You come together to collaborate, co-create, cooperate for the greater good of all. That's what happens up here. It's never for me. Why? Because if I create my own reality, why would I want to create a reality that makes me the jailer and have to put you in jail? Why would I create a reality that you're sick and I've got to cure you? Because I would know in my mind that means that I have to split myself and see you as less than me. And once you connect with yourself inside, you don't split yourself. Once you realize that you create your own reality, you're going to use your energy to create a reality that is joyful, fun, peaceful, happy, which means you cannot see anybody as having less than you. You cannot see anybody as having to suffer for you to be okay. Your joy expands everybody's joy. And if you're the creator of your own reality and you're manifesting what it is that you desire to experience, you don't operate from lack, because your imagination makes it into the manifestation. We are not the instant, powerful manifestors that we were all created to be, because in terms of manifesting those things that we like, because we're busy using our manifestation powers to manifest what we don't want. That's right. We've been manifesting all along what we don't want. We're manifesting based on what the ego has been taught is what it should manifest. You shouldn't want more than, so-and-so. You shouldn't be so selfish, so greedy. Well, others are selfish and greedy. It's crazy, crazy stuff. All right. So sentence number 3 in paragraph 6. So we give thanks for every living thing, for otherwise we offer thanks for nothing. And we fail to recognize the gifts of God to us. God has gifted everything for us to love, to be grateful for, to enjoy, to experience. Yes, all of what's on this planet was meant to be joyfully experienced, but we have to live in the consciousness that says everything is equal to us. We can't enjoy everything, and we've experienced so much suffering because we have been deluded into believing that we're separate. Some have, some don't have, some should suffer, some shouldn't suffer. We've tolerated something that is not true. We're correcting this. We're correcting this and making our minds singular in thinking again by knowing that we're all equally as capable of thinking the same thing in alignment with God. Or we think the same thing, well, we are thinking with the ego by blocking that which makes us one. Paragraph 7, then let our brothers lean their tired heads against our shoulders As they rest a while, we offer thanks to them for them. For if we can direct them to the peace that we would find, the way is opening up at last to us. You see, we've got to see them as capable of finding our inner peace. That's why my daughter's father, doesn't matter what he thinks about me. I want to think that he's a powerful creator. And I say this to my daughter, your dad is creating the reality he wants to experience. That's what I want my children to know. Don't be blaming anybody out there. Your dad can blame me. That's the reality he's wanting. He's wanting the reality of blaming somebody outside of him so that he can feel bad because somebody outside of him did this to him. Powerful creator. He is a very powerful creator. And I want my daughter to have an experience of the two. And the most important thing for me, besides my daughter know that she's a creator of her reality, is I ask her, who is happier? Who is in their inner peace? Well, guess what? It's not mom bashing dad. My peace doesn't come from bashing dad. And dad bashing mom, there's no peace there either. Where does my peace come from? From being grateful that her father is as powerful of a creator as I am. I don't need him to change for me to be at peace. I don't need him to change for me to be happy. I get zero enjoyment from somebody suffering, none whatsoever. Those days are long gone. I used to love it when people suffered. I used to be that way. And if we all were honest, I'm sure at some level we have enjoyed other people's suffering because it made us feel better about ourselves, made us feel like we got revenge. I'm not in the revenge. That's not where I am. I'm not in revenge anymore. I am in what the Course wants us to understand. I see everybody as a powerful creator. I want to be an example that my peace comes from inside of me. That's what I want my kids to see. And that is what my daughter is getting to experience, that she is watching these two totally different ways of being, knowing all of us are creating our own reality, because she feels how she feels inside when she judges dad or when she is in acceptance of mom. She feels the difference. And it's that feeling inside that she has 100% power over. You and I have power over what we feel because what we feel comes from what we think. And once you are thinking thoughts that are true and you choose to feel what happens in your heart when you walk the talk, something changes in you. The congruency happens. You complete the circuitry from head to heart. You are in alignment. Now, God can use you for the expansion of what is. Because my daughter is no longer trying to change what she doesn't like about dad. She's learning to accept and go, oh, that's pretty cool. And guess what? Her father's getting an example through her that he couldn't get through me. He's seen somebody accepting him as he is and being peaceful. Because he doesn't see me accepting him as he is and being peaceful, because he thinks I'm probably judging him. I'm not wasting my time judging anybody. Why would I do that to me? I'd have to pollute my own joy to be able to be righteous about judging somebody else. I don't do that anymore. I honor what happens in here because I love me enough to choose to feel my own inner peace. Because now I know where God placed it, right here, right in here. Sentence number 4 says, an ancient door is swinging free again. A long forgotten word re-echoes in our memory and gathers clarity as we are willing once again to hear. Wow. Walk then in gratitude the way of love. For hatred is forgotten when we lay comparisons aside. What more remains as obstacles to peace? The fear of God is now undone at last, and we forgive without comparing. Thus, we cannot choose to overlook some things and yet retain some other things still locked away as sins, these bad things that you did. When your forgiveness is complete, you will have total gratitude, for you will see that everything has earned the right to love by being loving, even as yourself. Everything has the right to experience inner peace, love, unconditional love, by extending it. We were created for expansion. We've got to let the love that is in here out. What blocks love? The head, the righteousness, thinking I'm better than you, thinking I'm worse off than you, I can never measure up. That thought that we're separate here blocks the heart, because it makes the heart, you begin to protect it. You think, because we've all been conditioned, love, if I love you, it's going to hurt me. So instead, I will judge you, and that feels better. But it is a feeling better that imprisons us, not only in a diluted way of thinking, totally backwards, but it is a thinking that has kept humanity believing in separation, in different levels and hierarchies and all that nonsense that we're waking up from. So we got to come back in here. We've got to come back in here and remember that we're all the same. You cannot see anybody as for them. You cannot. Your ego is going to tell you, who do you think you are to not feel sorry for that person? You're not being liberal enough or conservative enough if you, whatever, see everybody as equal. You don't want to be conservative or liberal. You want to be free. You want to be free of conditioning. See, if you're judging somebody, you're not free of conditioning, because God did not create us to judge. God created us to love and extend love. All judgment comes from conditioning. So if we're judging, it's not our own mind that we're using. We're using other people's thoughts. We're not even thinking on our own. Isn't that crazy? Any judgment that we have, any righteousness, is a purging of information that we receive. Taking revenge is taking revenge. It's a thought that we learn to correct the thought that we learned before that one that says I'm better than you. So I've got to take revenge. I've got to make myself, rise through these levels of consciousness. It's all conditioned thinking. All of this, when we're getting by below the level of neutrality, it's all information that has been placed in our head. It's not even our own. And we think we're so bright with all these titles and all these things, in all these certifications. We think we're so smart. But what has happened is our mind has been filled with nonsense, the kind of nonsense that does not free the heart, that doesn't bring peace. It doesn't bring joy where it really makes sense. Paragraph 9. So today we learned to think of gratitude in place of anger, malice, and revenge. We have been given everything. If we refuse to recognize it, we are not entitled, therefore, to our bitterness and to a self-perception which regards us in a place of merciless pursuit, where we are badgered ceaselessly and pushed about without a thought or care for us or for our future. Gratitude becomes the single thought we substitute for these insane perceptions. God has cared for us and calls us son, calls us daughter. Can there be more than this? Listen to this. Today we learn to think of gratitude in place of anger and malice and revenge. We've been given everything. You've been given a mind that creates your reality, but because our mind got polluted into believing with hand-me-down beliefs that we should be jealous and we should be better than and lesser than, and we should be taking revenge and we should be, chasing after money and happiness outside of us, that we were turned into these little minions, so busy seeking our side of ourselves that we fail to come inside and find where the joy has been all along, the peace, the knowledge that sets us free. So we need to come inside, be grateful that what has been given to us to give us freedom has always been there, never left us, that we're free no matter what, whether we know it or not, we're still free. Our gratitude has to be singularly focused on the fact that we are free. to experience whatever we're experiencing. Because when we do that, we really come to see how powerful we are. Why would we want to waste our time trying to battle those who don't even understand that they're free? We need to find freedom inside of us and then be an example of that, because that is what changes the world. Those who move into action through inspiration because they come from a peaceful, loving place inside are the ones who have affected more change in the world. Those who come from anger and revenge, they don't really change the world, because that recycles that same energy. It creates karmic patterns that need to be corrected and repeated. But those like Martin Luther King Jr., like Gandhi, they did things that we were shocked. Rightfully so. We needed to be shocked out of the nonsense of revenge. Last paragraph. Our gratitude will pave the way to him, God, Source, Spirit, here, and shorten our learning time by more than you could ever dream of. We've spent thousands of years since Jesus was here recycling. Excuse me. Oh, I'm blessed. Recycling, repeating, karmically redoing the same ridiculous thing over and over and over again. All we had to do was learn to love God, learn to love our neighbor, because we came to love ourselves. Instead of our neighbor being the source of our envy, the source of our suffering, the source of our freedom, the source of our well-being, instead of the neighbor having more power over us, we love them for being equal as we are, because we came to know what God is, and we realized God created us in its image. Once you use logic, if I'm made in the image of God and God created all of us, and we're all made in the image of God, and we were all created to love, to extend, to bring about heaven to earth, then who among us is not that loving being? None. But those who don't know that are doing unloving things because they're blocking love. You see, everybody out there that's attempting to hurt anybody, that's in greed, that is in revenge, they are calling for love. They need for us to say, like I say about my baby daddy, to my daughter, he's a wonderful person. He's a wonderful person. But I see that for him. I can't change it for him. Just because I know that's true about him, I can't and don't want to change the experience that he's choosing to create for himself. But I will not stop loving him as my holy brother, because that's what he is. Powerful creator. I don't feel sorry for him that he's all scared the pandemic is happening. I feel absolutely no fear for him, no concern or worry for him. Oh, and welcome our sweet sister Lorelei. So good to have you here with us. I do not feel sorry for anybody who feels sorry for themselves, because I would have to lower my frequency to feel sorry for somebody else. I stay up here and go, way to use your power. Good for you that you're using your power in greed and vengeance and jealousy. Good for you. Because I want to see the powerful being in everybody else, because I can't see their power if I'm not grounded in mine. You see, for me to pull somebody out of their power, I've got to go down here and pull them down, at least in my own head. Maybe not, I couldn't do it to them, but in my own head, I would. So let's complete this. Sentence number 2 in paragraph number 10. So gratitude goes hand in hand with love, and where one is, the other must be found. If you're grateful because your heart has been opened and you are extending love, you're loving the brothers and sisters that God created us to be our playmates. If they're not playing with us, they're calling for love. Plain and simple. They need for us to be the presence of that loving expression so that they can see that. And I'm hosting Thanksgiving tomorrow, and my baby daddy is going to be here with his lovely wife. And guess what? I'm going to love on them the same way as I'm going to love on my in-laws, my daughter's husband's parents. will be here and sister and husband will be here. I'm going to treat all of them the same. Why? Because they're all one with me. I don't love my daughter anymore or my grandson than I love my former husband. The role that he played in my life may be complete, but my heart is not going to close for anybody because I'm not going to do that to myself. To close my heart to somebody means that I must not love myself, and therefore I must shut my love. No freaking way. Once I learned to open up my heart by stopping thinking that I'm separate or different or better or lesser than somebody else, my heart has remained opened ever since. Let me keep going here. Sentence number 3. For gratitude is but an aspect of the love, which is the source of all creation. Gratitude, Lorelei, we're on lesson 195. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Paragraph 10, sentence number 3. For gratitude is but an aspect of the love, which is the source of all creation. Gratitude means I am grateful that I get to extend love. Gratitude is I'm sending it out because it feels good. I'm sending it out because it feels good. I'm grateful that love created me and it is the essence of my beingness. That's why we need to practice radical gratitude, gratitude that is not of this world, which means love everybody because they cannot take your peace, your joy, your happiness, your wealth. They can't take any of that from you. That which is eternal and is inside of us is only felt and experienced when we love ourselves enough to extend that to others. And when you are grounded in the truth that you are one, your energy with everything and all that is, what can take anything from you if you're the creator of your own reality? So our eyes are being trained not to focus on the stuff that we have, not to focus on, are you married or not married, divorced, blah, 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 blah. Are you black or white or male or female? When those superficial things matter not at all, you have come to the place where we're all one and exactly the same. From that place, if you can't love all there is, then you don't know what you are. Pure non-physical energy having a temporary, tiny little a speck in all of eternity, opportunity to be here and be a bringer of love and light. If you don't take this opportunity to bring love and light, then you are missing the opportunity. And guess what? You'll reincarnate and have another chance again. I'm done with those low frequency chances. I am totally, completely done with that. Why would I want to repeat to come down in low frequency when I know that what puts me in high frequency is to accept that I am as God created me? And so are you. That's the trick. It's an amazing trick. You cannot have your experience of oneness if you don't extend it to all that is. We got to love everybody. That's the only way we get out of this mess. You got to love everybody free. You got to love everybody out of here. You got to love everybody out of this insanity, because that's where you claim your divinity. From that place, you're a walking beacon of love and light, and you let everybody be where they are because they're powerful creators wanting that experience, since that's the one they have. If they didn't like that experience, they would be changing it. And they would be changing it first with gratitude that they created it for what it's there to show them about themselves. Last sentence here. Actually, there's two more. So sentence number 4, God gives thanks to you, to me, his son, his daughter, for being what you are, his own completion and the source of love along with him. Whoever would have thought? You won't see this in the Bible, that we complete God and God gives thanks to us. But here it is in the Course in Miracles. We complete God because each of us is a piece of the puzzle that extends God. How is God going to be known on this planet if we don't let God express itself through us? So we've got to completely acknowledge who we are, so that in our knowingness of who we are, we can be that piece that adds another bit of completion to the puzzle that God is. And what's the puzzle that God is? We're eternal non-physical energy having a temporary limited experience for what? To bring love and light to the planet. Have we been doing that? No. Why? Because we've been wanting to do it our own way, the way of separation, of segregation, of, craziness. And those who are ready who are done with that insanity, we want to go and complete ourselves. Completing means accepting that we are already complete, and then be what we are, to make the puzzle of what is beautiful, wonderful, holy, magnificent look like it's a reality for others to be able to see it. How are they going to come out of their insanity if they don't see us as examples of what's possible? Because they're looking at us. They think we're just as crazy as they are. We were in that state. And if we change, then they go, oh my God, if she can do it, so can I. Jesus showed us the way, but it wasn't quite enough because church did what it did with him. We are the way. We are the life. We are the love. But we have to embody it. And how do you embody it? Be grateful that that's really what you are. Be grateful that you were created to create. Be grateful that everybody else was created to create. Find the peace in you, knowing that that is your truth. And from that place, God, what would you have me do? We didn't come here to be, couch potatoes. We didn't come here to be bumps on a log. When the Spirit gets you, you can't help but want to extend. You'll be inspired. There's no way not to be inspired. Last sentence here, sentence number 5. Your gratitude to him, to her, to Buddha, Bambi, whatever you want to call it, your gratitude to it, the creator, is one with his to you. Because when we fulfill on what God created us to do, to complete, to expand, to extend, there is a beautiful process by which we really do for God what God created us to do. And in the doing for God what we were created to do, to extend love, we feel the most complete, the most grounded, the most eternal we could possibly ever feel. Isn't that amazing? Be what you are and extend it, and then you will feel the wholeness, the magnificence, the invincibility of what you are. Because when you're busy extending love, who cares what's going on out there? You move where you are sent, and you will know what to say, and you will know what to do, because it's coming from a place inside that seeks not revenge, that seeks not to shame somebody, that seeks not to put somebody down. Absolutely magical. Here's the last sentence. 6. For love can walk no road except the way of gratitude, and thus we go who walk the way to God. There is no way for me to feel the love that I feel for all of humanity without at the same time being in a perpetual state of gratitude that I am here and that I am free, that my mind is clear, that I know nothing here can bind me, that I know I'm not concerned about what comes, where my next meal come from. I am not concerned about my medical needs or my retirement. None of that matters to me anymore, because I trust that I am in a place of such certainty about my deservability, because I am as God created me, that whatever I need is always going to be available, because I've drawn to myself people that I know I can always count on somebody. If I need somebody to cook me a meal because I don't have it, or I can't do it, or I need somebody to loan me $5 because I don't have it, I don't even have to ask. It just flows. Let me assure you, coming to the place of understanding that the only thing worth being grateful for is that I am the creator of my reality, totally changed my life. It pulled me away from having to look outside of myself for anybody giving me or taking from me. Once I became grateful that what is mine eternally, because that's what God gave to me. Nobody can take it from me. I walk to God because in my gratitude for being this creator, I cannot not be in communion, in connection with God all the time, because I'm in awe that I was created with this much power. that I was created with the ability to be at peace at will, to be happy at will, to feel content and abundant and healthy and well all the time? Does my knee hurt when I walk down the stairs now? Yes. But you know what happens? Instead of complaining about the knee, I'm going, oh, I've got a beautiful man in my house who's an energy healer. I must need love and attention from him. In this moment, my knee must be seeking for something that he has to offer. And if I ever had to go somewhere and connect with somebody who could do something about it, what gratitude that I would have the opportunity to be in relationship and experiences with other beings who are expressing themselves uniquely as doctors, as nurses, pharmacists, neighbors, friends, sisters, brothers, ex-husbands. Wow. Wow. I am just in such gratitude that I get to have an experience as Laina, because I don't remember too many of other lifetimes. I've had glimpses of them. And you know what? I want to enjoy this one full on until I'm totally done with this body vessel. So I want to leave you with this title to this lesson one more time, 195. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. Love starts with recognizing that you are eternal. And the gratitude, if that's not enough for you to be grateful for, that you're eternal, you're not this body, you're free, then the gratitude amplifies as you find as many possible ways to give that love away. Send it out, extend it. Walk through your neighborhood. Oh my God, I love those bushes. Bushes that before I would say, oh my God, those are ugly. Now, I love those bushes. Love everything. Love everything. Because that's what's going to set you free. So that completes this lesson. Next week, we'll pick up where we left off last week. But today we needed to talk about gratitude. And one thing I'm so grateful for is our sweet friend, Lorelei, that you are back with us. We've missed you while you were off doing your, cancer journey. But here you are back. And thank you for joining us. Please unmute yourself and share. What does it feel like to be here? I can't hear you. No. Check your computer. Make sure your sound isn't off. Nope. Still can't hear you. Can't hear you, Mama. All right. So while you are, no, cannot hear you. Oh, we may just have to read your lips today. So while you figure out maybe some technical stuff, see if your computer is turned on, your button is off or your volume is down. Maybe turn your volume all the way up. But anyhow, I want to ask anybody until we can hear from Lorelei. Anybody, any thoughts, nuggets that you got from this conversation? I would love to hear from you. So everybody unmute yourselves so that we can hear from you. What you think about this lesson 195?
Laina?
Yes, Kat.
I'm so grateful that you chose this lesson today.
I didn't choose it.
It chose you. It chose you.
Yes, God told me. Lesson 195.
Well, I am grateful whatever the source was that we did this lesson today, experienced this lesson, and it's so empowering to just connect with that. You bless everybody on Thanksgiving and every day. Just how very, very grateful we are just to be together, be family, be in love. And I was just really touched with the message today about the oneness of everything and how we shouldn't say can't, but from a higher frequency, there is no revenge. There's no revenge. There's no revenge in my heart, and I know there's not in yours. This group is not. This is just not what we're made of. So, but it's important to be reminded, because occasionally you think, oh, that SOB. I like to go just, I don't know. I'd like to get him out of office. That would just be what I would say. But anyway, I'm just very, very, very grateful, and I appreciate all the love. And I want to wish everybody.
Oh, we just lost Kat. She was going to say wants to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and a happy Thanksgiving to you, Vern, and to everybody. And Lorelei, go ahead and speak. Let's see if I can hear you. This is so funny. I have some really profound things to share, and you can hear me. Wow.
Hey, Lorelei. Lorelei, can you hear me? Hey, she may be muted on Zoom. Look at your Zoom controls, Lorelei, and click the microphone button.
The bottom left, Lorelei. Now on my end, she's not muted on Zoom because I can see that.
Okay. Sorry, I thought that was it.
So Lorelei wrote that she has had so many wonderful shifts in perception. Yes. And one of them is, as beautiful as it would be to hear you, but a big shift in perception is nothing any one of us has to say really is that important. It really isn't. But at the same time, it's so wonderful when we get to hear other people's experiences because we can learn from them. So we're all equally important and equally as unimportant. So Angela, what about you? What nuggets did you get from this conversation?
I always get so much out of the conversations, and I was just appreciating the review on this one, because it's just so important to remember where we source ourselves from, and how, it's the cliche, people are either offering love or asking for it, which is a tough one some days. But it's such a beautiful thing to step into that vibration of this lesson. And know that it's always available, and we always have choices.
Absolutely. And I love how you said that, for us to know where to source ourselves from. We've already been sourced by love. So let's return to that source and be love. I love that. Remember, where to go to be sourced. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful time with your family this week. I know you've got family activities going on, some family.
Yeah, so, it's good. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good. All right. What about you, Dondra? Did you get some nuggets today? Or Christo or Yuri? Did you guys get some nuggets? And Lorelei, I've got you there twice, so you'll have to take yourself out of where you were. Yes, Christo.
Well, I would say that was really awesome, because it's such a razor's edge being grateful, because there's always someone out there that's worse than you. And it's something that I was brought up on, always be grateful, because, there's someone that's not going to have food on their table like you do.
Yeah. And
it's quite a mind shift to recognize that automatically you can also be grateful that they are where they are. And that means also there's so many other things that subtly one is behaving in a way that needs adjustment. Just that subtle shift of attitude. So there's a lot of self-reflection required here.
Yes.
On refining where one thinks one is arrived at a certain platform of recognition, where one just needs to reflect a little bit further to see, can one trim the sails a little bit more to capture more wind from the messages of God? You know, is there more refinement of understanding? So there's always more to learn. So thank you very much for being such an amazing vehicle and vesicle of profoundness.
Letting it flow, baby, letting it flow. As you know, because you share life with me, I don't do it perfectly, but I do know that I can always go back, as Angela said, go back to the source and correct myself. Anyhow, so wonderful.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you now.
I didn't go into enough overwhelm to not say, wait a minute, you can get on your iPad. Maybe you'll be able to be heard through that. Thank you, Vern, for your presence here. I must have picked up your energy. There's so much I want to share that is still bubbling, and but I guess the essence, oh God, is the whole shift in perception. And that chapter 21, you know, I've asked for this, blah, blah, blah. When I went into when this whole journey started, but when I went into the hospital, and Laina, you know this, and are you there? Okay, yep. Sorry. Bam, risks. Okay, so the biggest challenge for me has not even been the cancer. I remember, Laina, months ago, I said to you, so even if I handle the cancer, then I have to deal with all my financial bullshit, all the stuff that I owe, and I don't know that I want to be here. I'm not feeling a sense of meaning and purpose, and then feeling guilty about that, you know, and all these wonderful people reaching out to me and telling me how wonderful I am and how they've benefited from my energy. And I'm going, please do not tell me that. I cannot take it in. I couldn't take anything in. So when I went into the hospital, I said to God, if I can leave this hospital, other than the removal of the tumor, if I can leave this hospital with some sort of a renewed sense of there's something valuable that I have to contribute, that's the gift that I want. So I think that one of the shifts was 1 o'clock in the morning. I had 2 IVs and it was bleeding and they had to call an IV nurse. I mean, all this language that I never knew before. And I had to reconnect to myself and this wonderful man, and he's looking for a vein in this hand. And I asked him his birthday. I asked everybody their birthdays because that helped me feel connected and like that I had rapport with people. And so he said, I'm an Aries. And so here I am with my right hand, which I'm a lefty, putting in his birthday, sharing with him, oh, and you do this, and I can. And all of a sudden, I felt like reborn to myself. Like he was listening. It wasn't even so that. But here's the other thing. This came just in the last couple of days, and I shared this with Richard yesterday. This is the shift in perception. And Laina, there's much more for us to talk about. I don't want to keep everybody, but I have been framing the fact that I owe this much money. Now I have these hospital bills, blah, 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 as I'm a piece of, like I said, I have no value. And all of a sudden it dawned on me a couple of days ago, right at the end of the full moon cycle, a phase. And I went, wait a minute, look at the value that I have. Look at the value that I have. And even in terms of the GoFundMe, people have been so generous, but I've been desperate. And that's where it's been coming from. It's like, please support me. I don't know how. And then I went, wait a minute, that's not that. It's anyone that's contributing to me is investing in the value that I have that I haven't been able to see, but other people have. And my work is shifting. I don't know what it's going to be, but what I do know is because there were so many people, and you being like right at the front of the line, Laina, mirroring my magnificence back to me when I couldn't see it. I know that that's what I do in my work. I see the beauty, the value, the love, the magnificence. And now I'm entertaining myself with my astrological stuff, like being able to say, well, no wonder, like you said before, I don't do it perfectly. I'm thinking, well, she's Virgo rising. Of course, she's not going to do it. Relate to that, Angela? Anyway, and one last thing, which is so amazing, which I just have to share. God, I'm so glad that I've got my sense of humor, that it's come back in waves. Okay, so my son and his wonderful girlfriend, who were born 2 days apart, so they have all the planets in the same sign except for the moon, and they're wonderful. They're both Sagittarius. She's Monday, he's December 2nd. I have all these Sagittarius in my life, and they're expecting a boy, a child, which you know, in February. I have been so much in my own bullshit that I have not been able to be excited about that. Like people saying, well, you've got so much to live for. You've got your kids and John and this grandson coming. And then I'm feeling more guilty because I couldn't feel it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with me? You know, I've got all this great stuff coming, but here's the punchline, Laina. Here's the punchline. My Adina is her name. She's part Persian. So she wants a middle name that is Persian. So about, I don't know, a month ago or so, Michael and I are talking and I said, so what, it's Alexander is the first name. I said, so what's the middle name going to be? And he said, well, there's this Persian guy named Rumi. And I said, Rumi, are you kidding me? You guys are actually entertaining calling my grandson middle name Rumi? Well, what I said to him the other day on the phone, they sent me this care package and it just blurted out. It was like sarcasm and it was dark, but it was funny. I said, you know what? If you guys decide to name my grandson with a middle name of Rumi, that might just give me enough energy to stick around. Anyway.
Oh my goodness, that's priceless. So Rumi may be incarnated in Lorelai's grandson.
I'm telling you, and I'm going, oh my God, I can't. I mean, that to me would bring me. I mean, again, it's just it's like I lost my joy. And I found it again, and I found it in a way that I have so much more to share with people on a whole other level. It's not about the ins and outs of the chart. It's about you've got a light, you're here to shine it, and using the work that I do to focus on that with families, with people that are in relationship. I'm just so clear. I don't know what it looks like yet. I don't give a shit, but give a shit. That has a whole new meaning for me these days. Sorry. So thank you. I just had the moon's in Leo, so I was feeling the fun-loving energy. And thank you for saying come on at the end. And I thought, you know what? I got to share these really profound reframes that I've had.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, when you say you lost your joy, you didn't lose your joy. You let your ego block it. That's all that happened. Yeah. You let the mind spin all the what's not wrong. And even with all of that, your purpose here, God had a greater purpose for you, that it supported you with those who were reflecting back to you the truth of who you are. You know, you could write a book, even my ego can't take me down.
But thank you for that insight. That's because I kept saying I lost it, but that's just right. It was just blocked. It was just, I couldn't see it.
Yeah, you just put it down, and you know, you wanted to dilly-dally with the ego for a little while longer. And I'm so glad you're back. And I am so thankful for each and every one of you, and thankful that you shared what you shared as we complete this. And I just totally want to encourage everybody.
Laina, I have something I want to share.
Oh, thank you, Yuri. Yes, please.
I had the unbelievable experience this week of being shown what my purpose in life was, and just to make it kind of short is, you know, if I don't love myself, I'm never gonna fulfill that purpose that God has for me. And
amen, boy. Thank you for that.
That's it. And I'm so thankful. So thankful.
Love it. Love it. Yes, because when you love you, you basically can't help but love God, because you and God are one. You know, we are one with God. And once we love ourselves, then we know love. As crazy as that sounds, you know, what? Love yourself? Then you know God. Yeah, that's the trick. God placed itself in us. And until we learn to love ourselves fully, we cannot know what God is. It's that love turned back inwardly with total and complete gratitude that reveals what God is. Thank you all so much for being here. Yuri, thank you for that. Lorelei, thank you. Angela, thank you for your share. Crystal, Dondra, thank you for being part of this experience. Happy Thanksgiving to you. And we will see you next week. Wednesday we'll be back, and then I'll send out information for anybody who may want to do the 1 year, 40 days and 40 nights with A Course of Love and go deeper. Love you all. You all have a good day. See you later. Mwah. I'm kissing myself. Mwah. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.